The second thing Baker Mayfield needs is Baker Mayfield needs time. See, dysfunctional organizations are often impatient. And I fear the Browns are going to get impatient and play Baker Mayfield before he is ready. They're going to play him too early. I want to ask, have you ever had a pot pie? My dad makes pot pies. See, the Marie Callender pot pies, these big ones. And when you put a pot pie in the oven, it takes about an hour and 10 minutes to cook. In fact, my dad says it's exactly an hour, 10 minutes to cook a pot pie. But do you know what happens if you only cook a pot pie for 30 minutes? Instead of the hour and 10 minutes it needs, you only cook it for 30 minutes. You pull it out, you put it on a plate, and you start to eat it. Guess what happens? It's cold, it's frozen in the middle. And even if you try to put it back in the oven, it's ruined. It's too late. You can't put that piece of pie back in the oven and cook it. It's over. You can't have the pot pie doesn't work. And that's my fear that what the Browns are going to do with Baker Mayfield. They're going to get Baker Mayfield on the field before he's ready. Too early. I don't want them to ruin Baker Mayfield because I think Baker Mayfield has some potential. I think Baker Mayfield could be a great quarterback. I mean, look, the Browns chose Baker Mayfield with the number 1 overall pick. In theory, Baker Mayfield is their quarterback of the future. And the problem with being a number 1 overall pick is there's a lot of pressure to play your number 1 overall pick. We spent all this money. We spent a draft pick on him. We should play our guy. We picked him. Why aren't we playing Baker Mayfield? That's the narrative that could go on if the Browns are not immediately successful, which it's possible they won't be. They play the Steelers week 1, the Saints week 2. They could start off 0-2, and it could get even worse. I don't know. I love Tyrod Taylor. I love who they have. But dysfunctional organizations are impatient. And the fear is that the Browns are going to jump the gun and play Baker Mayfield before he is ready. I mean, look at last year. So last year, in the second round, the Browns drafted DeShone Kizer. And it appears that they learned from this. Because what they did last year is they picked DeShone Kizer in the second round. And then they started DeShone Kizer week 1. And that was a terrible, terrible mistake because DeShone Kizer was not ready. And so I do think I hope, and it seems likely the Browns have learned from the past. Because the Browns know they played DeShone Kizer before he was ready last year. So to prepare for this, they went out and they got Tyrod Taylor in the offseason. So right now, the Browns are in a perfect situation, quarterback-wise. They have Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor is a really, really quality level quarterback. They traded for him from the Buffalo Bills. Tyrod Taylor led the Buffalo Bills to the playoffs last year. In fact, Tyrod Taylor is a 2-time Pro Bowl quarterback. Tyrod Taylor can play football. He's not Tom Brady, but he's definitely not Andy Dalton. He's somewhere in the middle. He's not bad. He's maybe a tier 2 quarterback. If you give him enough, maybe he could win a Super Bowl. He's actually, I think, quite a quality quarterback. Tyrod Taylor's not bad. And I do think that the plan for the Browns is to play Tyrod Taylor as long as they possibly can and then play Baker Mayfield. But the other problem I have is I think that's their plan, but I don't trust the Browns because once again, the Browns are a dysfunctional organization. And I just don't trust them. I don't know that they're not going to get impatient and play Baker Mayfield before he is ready. Because it's great. If they play Tyrod, that'd be perfect. Play Tyrod all year. If Baker Mayfield's not better than Tyrod Taylor, then why would you play him? Even if the Browns are not winning a ton, they're not. They're not a great roster. They could. I mean, maybe they'll go 9-7. It's possible. Maybe the Browns are going to be the surprise of the year. Maybe. I think Tyrod Taylor can win some games, but if they don't, what I'm asking is please do not play Baker Mayfield before he is ready. If you remember, Baker Mayfield went to Oklahoma. And Baker Mayfield, when he transferred to Oklahoma, he had to take a year off. And he's admitted in the past, taking a year off in Oklahoma was really, really good for him. Because it gave him time to learn, to study, get used to Oklahoma, get to know all the players, catch up to speed. It could not hurt Baker Mayfield to sit him for the entire next season. You have Tyrod Taylor. And if Baker Mayfield's not as good as Tyrod Taylor, please do not play Baker Mayfield. The worst thing you could do to Baker Mayfield is play him before he's ready. Do not ruin Baker Mayfield the way that DeShone Kizer was ruined last year. That's my fear. My fear is that the Browns are going to get impatient because, Baker Mayfield, he's a number 1 pick. We got to get him on the field. We spent all this money. We spent a pick. I fear and I hope the Browns do not get impatient with Baker Mayfield. Do not play Baker Mayfield before he is ready. Do you want to hear one more thing? Before I do the tease, I want to point out this. The majority of NFL quarterbacks have sat on the bench for a while. If you look around the league, here there are a few exceptions, but for the most part, Tom Brady sat for a year. Aaron Rodgers sat for years. Kirk Cousins was not a starter immediately. Jimmy Garoppolo was not a starter immediately. Even Big Ben, he played his rookie year, but Big Ben sat on the bench for a while. Jared Goff sat on the bench. Phillip Rivers sat on the bench. Derek Carr sat on the bench. Most of the quarterbacks, if you look around the league, they did not play immediately. That's kind of where I come with this angle from with Baker Mayfield. There are some exceptions. Look, Russell Wilson played week 1 as a rookie. So did Dak Prescott. But the difference with them is they went to really good organizations. They were later round draft picks. So Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, they were not first round draft picks. There was a lower level of expectation for them, which helped them. And they went to really good, solid, stable organizations with good rosters. That helped them early on. Now, there is Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is some kind of anomaly. Matt Ryan is the most successful quarterback, I believe, who's ever played week 1. I mean, from the get, Peyton Manning, obviously more successful. Peyton Manning did not succeed his rookie year. Matt Ryan was unbelievable in his rookie year. In fact, I believe Matt Ryan's first pass in the NFL was a touchdown. I'm not joking. I think he threw a slant. I think it was to Roddy White for a touchdown. No joke. Matt Ryan's first pass in the NFL was a touchdown, but he's an anomaly. He's an exception to the rule. Most quarterbacks are better off when they sit. I'm not saying that you can't be successful week 1. Carson Wentz played week 1. A multitude of other quarterbacks throughout the history of the NFL have played week 1, and it's fine. But I do think that sitting quarterbacks cannot hurt them. And you look around the league, the majority, not all of them, there are exceptions again, but the majority of quarterbacks who start in the NFL did not play week 1, and some of them did not play until the end of their rookie year or even not at all their rookie year. Again, Aaron Rodgers didn't play his rookie year. Tom Brady didn't play his rookie year. I believe Drew Brees sat for a while. Jared Goff sat for a while. Derek Carr, that's the big one, is Derek Carr. Derek Carr didn't start right away. Now, Andrew Luck did, but Andrew Luck is on the sideline. He's hurt. He played great, but he was injured. So I just think it's interesting. There's definitely a good argument for maybe Baker Mayfield should sit for a while. A lot of quarterbacks have sat, and a lot of quarterbacks were helped. And you think about some of the quarterbacks who have started week 1, they're a mess. Tim Couch, Jamarcus Russell, a lot of quarterbacks aren't ready, and they need time to sit. And I just don't think sitting Baker Mayfield for a while could hurt. Thank you so very much for watching. Remember, you can subscribe to Strong Opinion Sports on iTunes, on SoundCloud, and on YouTube. You can find the full entire hour-long podcast on YouTube, as well as my best, most interesting clips. If you like Strong Opinion Sports as much as I do, help me grow this podcast by telling your friends about this show. Share it on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, whatever it is. Help me grow this podcast by telling your friends. Thank you so much, and have a great day.